Hey, Lavenda.
Hello, Vernon. How are you?
I fine. How you do?
I'm doing pretty good. I don't know about this 9 o'clock hour. It's beating me up.
What? Okay, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. Mm-mm. No, sir. I'm not going there with you this time. Okay. Right.
Okay,
About this nine
okay.
o'clock. About this 9 o'clock hour. So, uh, it's. But anyhow, how you been doing, sugar?
I
I just want to
cannot
welcome. I just
complain.
want to welcome everybody back to Wind Down Wednesday. Great show, great host, great topics. So, what are we going to talk about tonight, sugar?
Well, first of all, let me announce that the special edition of The Other Woman has been released. It has been released today. Yay, to what seems like forever. But
Hmm.
And those who have subscribed, your issue has been ordered. So it'll just be a minute before you receive it in the mail. And those who are not subscribers can go to candypublishing.net and click on the Other Woman link.
Hmm.
And with the click of a button, they can get the special edition. And it's been 3 years, Vernon. 3 years.
Has it been 3 years already, Lavinda?
3 years. Yes,
Wow,
yes.
three
This is the
years.
third issue, third volume three, issue two, should I say? Yes.
Hmm. Wow. Got to
Yeah.
put my mic on here, Lavinda. Um, it is
Oh,
amazing how time flies. You know that?
I
Absolutely amazing. I
know.
got you on there because I'm putting my mic on and I might have to take my shirt off and these women might just go
Oh,
crazy
Jesus, have
when they
mercy.
see all these guns here. But you know,
Guns
three
and gut.
years.
Guns and gut.
That's right. Got to have a lot of guts to have a guns like I mine.
Yes, 3 years, Vernon, since the first issue um, was created, all from a thought, an idea of feeling free and having the Other Woman magazine. I knew I couldn't be alone, and here
Hmm.
we are in our third year. And
Yeah.
I got to say something about those who subscribe. My idea was never to have a subscription. It was just to publish the magazine 3 times a year, and readers loved it so much. A lot of them just
Hmm.
start asking, "How do I subscribe? How do I subscribe?" And I'm like, "I don't know nothing about the subscription process. I barely know what I'm doing with the magazine, publishing it. This is my first time. This is my first rodeo, but it's been going very well, and each issue gets better and better and better."
Yeah. That is so true. That is so true. See, can you adjust your mic a little bit because you're sounding hollow, like you kind of in the well, like a little bit, if you will. But anyway, what we're going to talk about tonight while you're doing all of that?
Let me see if I can do two things at once. We're
Ooh,
well, I have
you
a
can't.
couple
Hey,
of
I got some gum. I got some gum. When I see I give it to you, see, can you walk at the same time with it? Okay.
Okay, well, I don't chew gum, so that won't work for me. Okay, well, I do have a couple of questions that we didn't get to from the last segment, but I thought it would be good to talk about expectations. One of the questions deal with expectations. So,
Okay.
a lot of us get into relationships, and it's natural, I guess it's human nature to expect um, a few things either from the relationship as a whole or from your partner, your significant other.
Uh huh.
But I always like that Shakespeare quote, and I don't know if I'm going to quote it verbatim, but he says something to the effect of unhappiness, expectations is the root of all unhappiness. Have you heard that quote before?
Yeah. Yeah.
Expectations.
Yeah.
However, after doing a little research, and you know what? I kind of had a change of thought this professor at the University of South Carolina says that that is wrong to not expect uh, certain things from a relationship. We should expect. We should expect loyalty. We should expect a certain amount of attention. Uh, let's see. There was a few other things that he said. Let me pull it up real quick. But how
All
do you
right.
feel about it?
Now,
Do you expectations are reasonable or unreasonable?
no, I think expectations are reasonable. I think there's a certain level of expectation that all of us should want up, you no pun intended, but expect out of a relationship. Yeah, yeah, right. You expect to be loved. You expect to be loyalty. You expect to, fidelity. You expect all that kind of stuff. But but we're living in a real world, okay? And those we all of our expectations are not always met in life, Lavender, in particular in relationships. Okay, when you get relationships, that's another problem. When you get relationships, a lot of the expectations are not met in in relationships, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
causes a lot of problems. And that's why I live by my 80-20 rule, Lavender. I feel like if everybody were to adopt the 80-20 principle, okay, then don't I think expectations gives us a false sense of security about expecting 100, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I say there's no such thing as 100 in anything. So out of all the expectations that you have in a relationship, expect 80% of them to be met, and then expect 20% of them not to be met. And then when they all are not met, and then you're not that disappointed because you knew from the beginning that, well, we can't meet all of our expectations, cannot be met and will not be met. But if you go in with the idea that all of them are going to be met, you're going to have problems, okay? Because they're all not going to be met.
Do you think there's a difference in this is my brain now. A difference in expectations and standards.
Yeah, yeah,
Expectations and
yeah. I,
standards.
I do believe there's a difference between expectations and standard. Standard is, in my definition of a standard, standard is something that I guess that is individually that we set for ourselves. You got certain set of
Mm-hmm,
standards that
mm-hmm,
you live by, okay, for yourself, and then you have certain set of standards that you have for somebody else. Okay, now I hear where you're
mm-hmm.
going with that because your standards that you apply to somebody else might be your problem because those are your standards and they may not be my standard. You may have certain set of standards that you have for yourself, then you might have a set of standards that you have for the man in your life. But if I'm that man in your
I don't
life,
think you can set standards for another person. I think
right,
standards are a set of guidelines or ideas on how you conduct yourself, what you expect from yourself, but expectations, then you can expect standards
mhm,
from other people, but people set their own standards. They're their own personal guidelines. I can't tell you what your standard should be.
right, right. Okay, I agree with that. I
Now,
agree with that.
now, if both parties, the man and the woman, if their expectations and standards kind of match up, then it shouldn't be a problem. But when there's a disagreement or they vary, then we might have some problems. Not necessarily problems, but issues that we have to work out. Because one person can have a set of standards that might be a little bit lower, a little bit higher. And so you're expecting something from someone that they cannot possibly deliver because of your standards.
True. Well, again, that's where the problem is. Your standards might not align with your expectations, okay? Because with standards, And it will within expectation too, Levin, because two people have to live up to meet an expectation, and we got two people's involved. Okay, those two people have to be aligned, and as long as they're aligned, then those expectations might be met. But when one of them, let me give you a case in point. Okay, fidelity, infidelity. You go into a relationship expecting complete fidelity, 100% fidelity. Okay, and then now that's you when you went into it. Now I might be different. Okay, even though I
Mm-hmm.
might not say when I go into a relationship, I might not expect 100% fidelity for me, not for you. I expect it from
Mm-hmm.
you, but not from me. Okay, but I'm expecting it
Mm-hmm.
from you, and vice versa. See, that lies the problem. Okay, and so
A
or
big problem.
yeah, big problem. But again, go into it with the idea that, well, even though I know that I expected 100%, but if my mate or my significant other or my spouse cheat on me, and then you don't want to go out and kill yourself because you didn't expect that person would do that. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
know you expect that, but when it don't meet it, don't you be disappointed, but you know that stuff happens. But I think what really happens when people they literally expect 100%, and then when somebody cheat on them or beat on them or whatever the case may be, then they're really sorely disappointed. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. They're sorely disappointed. But I'm advocating that if you go into a relationship, don't go into it expecting 100%. If you get 100%, fine, great, that's gravy, okay. But if you don't get 100%, okay, then go into it the idea that, well, okay, I didn't get it.
I probably would get stones thrown at me
You get
for
you get what
this.
now?
I think I would probably get stones thrown at me for what I'm about to say, but I think it's unrealistic to expect basically what you said 100% from any human being. We are full of flaws, we're full of inadequacies, we're full of the capability of making wrong decisions, wrong judgments. So to expect 100% from any human being, you set yourself up for failure. I don't care if it's loyalty, I don't care if it's expecting them to clean up every day. It could be something huge, something as small as cleaning or I don't know, anything. Opening the door for you when you get in the car or out of the car. Something simple.
Hmm.
Everybody's wired differently. And life brings about situations that will cause people to maybe, I don't want to say change, but just things happen. Life happens.
True, that is true. Now life happens.
And life changes people. Experiences change people. Because I bet, are you the same person you were 10 years ago? Are you the
I,
same
doubt-
person you were when you got married?
I doubt it. I doubt it. People change, and that's what we have to tell people to go into relationship knowing that life is not constant. We are evolving as we live, as we grow. We're evolving, and things change over time. Okay, and so
So
don't
how can you
expect.
expect anything? How can you expect anything if based on what we just said? Life happens, people change, experiences change people, your values, your morals. I've
Right,
changed in the last 2 years. I've changed. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
right,
My standards have changed. All of this has changed. So if you get into a relationship with someone, and this is one of the questions, is it
okay,
wrong? Um, is it wrong to expect loyalty from my mate? Is it wrong to expect loyalty? But again, we don't have all the details. when do you think it's a good time to even begin to expect anything from your
Well,
significant other? Doesn't have to be some time into the relationship before you start placing expectations on people, knowing if there's a commitment there. For one, you know what I'm saying? You got to get to know a person before you even know if you want to expect anything. How are you going to know what to expect if you don't know the person?
Lavinda, but I don't think it's wrong at all. I think the person that asked that question is absolutely right about you should expect everything something when you go into, but what I'm saying to you is don't expect 100% of it. Okay, you
I
can
don't get that.
expect.
Not when it comes to loyalty. Not when it comes to loyalty. What, you going to be half loyal, 80% loyal? What kind of crap is that? Then you
No,
go into a
no, no,
relationship.
no, no, don't get me wrong. What I'm saying to you, well, you set yourself up for hurt if you don't. What I'm saying to you, yes, we should always expect 100% loyalty, but what we expect and what we get are two different things. Okay. Now, if you don't get loyalty, and then what? And what I'm saying to you is then you got to have some way of maintaining your sanity. Okay. You wouldn't want to jump off of the bridge if you didn't get 100% loyalty, right? If you expect 100% loyalty and you find out, oh my God, he wasn't loyal or she wasn't loyal. Now I'm gonna go jump off the Colorado River. Okay, jump in the Colorado River. No, you don't want to take it that. Have always in the back of your mind that life happens, that you may not always get that expectation. You know what I'm saying? That hundred
I
percent.
do. And that's where communication comes in. If you're going to place expectations on your partner, you need to express those expectations because one, they can't read your mind. I just can't
Right.
stress it enough. Communication with your partner is so important. So if your expectations aren't being met, um, and you're not abiding by your own standards, there's something not going right in the relationship. And it's not going to
Yeah.
go right unless you communicate. But
Yeah.
most people are afraid to share their expectations. I think mainly because they already know from the jump they're unrealistic.
I think it's okay to share, and I think it's okay to expect it. But but know that you may not always met. When you got married, Lavender, even in your wedding vows, what did it say? To death do you part, right? You expected to be married to that man uh, until to death did y'all part, right? But along the way, life happens, okay? And I noticed you didn't want to jump off the Colorado River, even though when you
I,
now let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. When you got married, did you expect to be married to death do you part, or did you?
I
Re-
did. I
you
did. I
did.
think most people do. What's the point of getting married and take
Okay.
making vows if you don't expect to be in it for the long haul?
Yeah. Well.
Definitely.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
but only speaking for myself,
Okay.
I knew the standards, the values, the morals were not on the
Mhm.
same page. But you don't get to know a person until, like I said earlier, situations happen, experiences happen where you see
Right.
how a person reacts, you'll see how a person responds. You know, you
Hmm.
don't see these things until it actually happens. So that's the whole thing with me and placing expectations on people. You set yourself up for failure, but standards, have your standards. If your expectations aren't met, okay, well, you got a choice to walk. But
Well.
you have to communicate that though. If you've
Yeah.
made a
True.
commitment and before you get married, I'm saying all this before you say I do.
Right. Well, I mean, okay. Can I back up for a second? When you saying before you
Yes.
do, what are you saying before you do that? Well, I don't understand about the expectation. You can't say that because you know you don't know that because you don't know what you don't know what the future gonna bring. You don't know what the future holds for you, right? You just don't know that. And so, what do you do? if you go into a
But you
marriage,
know a little
I
bit
guess.
about that person's character. You know
Uh-huh.
something about that person's character after you get to know them. You know, you know
Hmm.
something about them. So then it goes, well, how long do you have to know a person before you can say, I know you? I think years, years. But nobody's going to wait, what, 5, 6 years, 7 years, and then say, okay, I think I'm ready to marry you. So it's really a personal decision.
Okay. Well. Okay.
It's
Now
a
you said all that to
crapshoot.
say about expectations. All I'm saying about expectations is that yes, to answer the question, is it wrong? No. The answer to the
No, it's
question,
not
no, it is
wrong.
not wrong. It is not wrong to expect fidelity, expect love, expect everything that you want out of marriage. You expect. No, it's not wrong to expect it. Now, whether you get it, it's a whole different story. But yes, you should. Because I don't think any relationship will survive if nobody goes into them with no levels of expectations. Okay, if you went into a marriage, I don't expect to stay in this marriage all my life, or you go into this marriage, I'm gonna expect to love this man, I don't expect to be for true to this man. You know what I'm saying? How long? How long is in if both parties? What kind of relationship is that? You're not going to if you
I
don't
don't
expect.
know. I don't know. I don't know, but relationships today, I don't know, Bert. It is okay. Since we're talking about expectations, here's another question.
Okay.
Um, this young lady, she says she expects communication throughout the day from her significant other. I'm not saying I need my cell phone going off every 5 minutes, but I do appreciate the small things like have a great day or simply um, thinking of you, simple text. She says it takes 5 minutes and they'll put the biggest smile on her face, but she does not get that. He doesn't like to text.
Okay.
Okay.
So what you're saying is well. So what her question is again? I didn't get the question out of that. She want folks. What was the real question in that
She
question?
really didn't ask a question. We were talking about expectations. So she
Uh
just
huh.
came back and said what she likes, what she expects, but she does not get that. So
Okay.
maybe is it wrong so where does she go? But again, communication, if she hasn't conveyed that to her significant other, hey, I want you to text me throughout the day, um, but he doesn't like
Okay.
texting at all.
Okay. Well, good. That okay. You bring up a good point now, Lavender. Did they? You said something that maybe we haven't. Maybe they haven't talked about their expectation. Maybe she just assumed that I he should check in with me once a day, twice a day, or 10 times a day, whatever the day,
She
whatever it
likes
might
to text
be.
throughout the day. She likes to hear from him throughout the day, thinking of
Okay.
you.
Does he know
Yeah.
that? Did she share that with him?
I
These are
don't know
my
if she shared
expectations.
it with him or not. I don't know.
Okay.
But he
But
doesn't
that
like
goes
to text. He doesn't like to text. So whether she shared it with him or not, he does not like to text.
well. Does he like to pick up the phone and say hello?
I don't know. She's not getting
Does
what
he?
she's expected. She's not being fulfilled. Okay. I don't care if it's I like him to bring me popcorn every day. If he's not doing it, it goes back to your expectations. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah. But you know that's all of the ingredients that lead to infidelity. You know that, right? And I don't know whether or not she shared that with him or not, but I think she shared it with him. I think if he cared enough about her, he
Wait a
would find
minute.
the time. He would find the time to text her. Okay.
You said that leads
But
to infidelity? A
yes.
text?
What I'm saying to what listen to me now because I'm a man and you a woman, but what I'm telling you is that what he's not doing, he just leaving the door open for somebody else. If somebody else start texting her every day, is that what she's craving for? Lavender is some attention from her mate. Okay, any way she can get it. And Texas is one of the things. And now, if he failed to do that, if another man start texting her every day, "Good morning, sugar, how you doing?" and throughout the day, and he's not doing it, where do you think her attention is going? Because that's just what she likes, okay? And she's gonna go with what she likes. If he doesn't do it, somebody else will. So, guys, beware of that because those are the kinds of things that leads to infidelity. Trust me.
Mm.
Are you speechless?
I'm letting it process.
Okay, but you heard the old saying about it. What somebody else won't do, somebody else will. Okay, and that's what I'm saying now. Obviously, what you like is what you like, and just because I'm not giving it to you, that don't mean I'm gonna not like it. Okay, when somebody else give it to me, I'm still gonna like it. I'm gonna like it from him or from them or from her or from her. You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna like what I like, and where I get my likes from is where I'm gonna get pay all my attention to. Okay. And if the
Mm.
spouse or the husband or the significant others or any of those folks are not doing that for her, she's gonna go where she can get that attention from. Again, remember now, we talked about many times about the reason why women cheat as opposed to the reason why men cheat. Men cheat
Mhm.
because they get up in the morning, okay? Women cheat because of their personal needs. You know, a woman likes to, she's more, it's about her. You know, it's about her. Okay, and she want that attention. She want that attention from that man, and it's very easy to do that. And most men know that. If they know that their husband is neglecting them, somebody if you know what they say about it always his best friend, Lavender. Well, it's the best
Mhm.
friend. If the best friend know that you neglecting your old lady, and he knows that she craving your attention, well, he knows that, so he knows what she likes, and he knows what this husband is not providing, and so it's so easy for him to go in and provide those things that she likes to get what he wants. Okay,
Mm,
and
mm,
those are the kind
mm,
of things that leads to infidelity.
mm,
Come on
mm,
now,
mm.
talk to me. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, listen to this. This is from a psychology professor at the University of North Carolina. He says, I
Okay.
encourage couples to strive for the good enough relationship, which sounds
Hmm.
like settling for less than best. But he says, allow me to explain. Hold on. He says, in a good enough relationship, people have high expectations for how they're treated. They expect to be treated with kindness, love, affection, and respect. They do not tolerate emotional or physical abuse. They expect their partner to be loyal. This does not
Hmm.
mean they expect their relationship to be free of conflict. Even happily married couples argue conflict is healthy because it leads to greater understanding. People should not expect to solve all of the problems in their relationship. He says his Love Lab studies found that almost half, one third of relationship conflict is perpetual. He says when
Hmm.
choosing a long-term partner, you will inevitably be choosing a particular set of unsolvable problems. It's unrealistic to expect a relationship to heal childhood wounds or to become a pathway to spiritual enlightenment or self actualization. Um, but these are essential needs. So don't settle for being treated poorly. So it goes back to your standards. But he says, yes, we should have expectations.
Yes, I agree with him. Yeah, we
Mhm.
absolutely should have expectation.
Expect that you deserve it. It's not unreasonable if you feel like you deserve it. Okay, so that goes back to some women um, that have a list, a checklist of the things that they want in a man. if those are their
Hmm.
standards, they don't have to feel like they're settling if they choose to wait for that particular man. And that might be unrealistic. You know, you waiting on a perfect man. There is no perfect man. I just read from that professor that whatever mate you choose, you are inviting a set of unresolvable problems. Isn't that something?
I agree with him. I agree with him wholeheartedly. You sound surprised by that.
I sound surprised.
Yeah.
No, I'm not surprised. I don't know what the word is. I'm not surprised. It's interesting. That's why I like reading. It gives you a different outlook other than your own. It helps you to get out of your own head, you know. So, but this is what women need to hear. No matter what man you choose, men also, no matter what woman you choose, you are inviting a set of unsolvable problems. That's going to
Absolutely.
be in every
We're
relationship. But he says conflict is healthy because it
right.
brings understanding. So sometimes you got to work through the shit in order to get to that better place. But that's the
Right.
key is working through that, all that mess, being able to withstand it until it passes, until you have some understanding of each other. That was good
So
stuff.
what did you have in your mind, Lavender? You
About what?
about that before the professor you read
I
that.
just
What did you
believe
have
that
in your mind?
expectations, I just believed expectations were a setup for disappointment, flat out. You know, that's just me. But I'm seeing now, just by reading, it comes back to acceptance, Vernon. Just being able to accept a person for who they are, with all
Right.
their faults, with all their inadequacies, with all their childhood mess and the baggage and all that other crap. You know, just being able to accept a person is something huge that I believe humans have a difficult time doing. Because then, if you just allow the person to be who they are, there wouldn't be any conflict. But you expect that person to act a certain way, to talk a certain way, to respond a certain way. You know, it's all about acceptance. Is that too
Amen.
far fetched?
No, that is absolutely you're absolutely on target. Who you are is where you were when. And
I thought about that.
I think when people put their the problem with it, Lavender, that those are your expectations. Those are what you want out of a person, not necessarily who that person is. If you understand what I'm saying,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's who you try to make them to be. But you got to understand a person is who they are, and the chances of you changing who they are, and those signs are already there when you meet that person. Okay, they're already there. Then you have to come to the conclusion in your head whether you want a long-term relationship with the person with all their faults. You focus on when you meet a person. In my opinion, I would say I would tell folks to focus on the negative stuff, the 20%. You remember my 80-20 rule? Just don't worry about the
Hmm.
80%. Don't worry about that because if you can live with the 80%, that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. But what you really have to worry about that 20% of that person. If you can't live with that 20%, then the 80% will never ever work. So if whoever you find in your life, 80% of them is fine, but 20% of the same you don't like. And but you got to be good with that 20%. You got to accept that 20% in your life
But
if
it's
you
going
want
to
to.
be 20% with whoever you choose. It's always going to be a 20%. it's going to be a different 20%. You know what I'm saying? So you find someone that you like.
Mm-hmm.
If I focus on that 20%, I'm not that 20% that I just can't seem to deal with. Okay, I don't want to be with that person because I can't deal with that 20%. You meet somebody else, they don't have a different set of 20% that you can't do. So you might as well stay with the one you or decide what 20% that you're going to deal with. But it's going to be something, but we got a comment here.
But hold it before you go to the comment. Hold it before you go to the comment. That's what you were saying earlier, Levin. That's what I was trying to say to you. You have to be good with that 20%. You put in more elegant words than I put it in. You say you have to accept that person. What I'm saying to you is you have to accept that 20%. If you're not willing to accept that 20%, whether it maybe that 20% might be smoking, maybe that 20% might be drinking, maybe that 20% might be womanizing. It might be something in that person's life that you don't, whatever it is that you don't like about that person. If you want a long-term relationship with him, you know that he's a smoker now. You know he's a drinker. You know he's a cusser. You know he's a heathen. If you're not good with that, you're gonna have problems along the line. Go to the question. That's what I'm saying. Just be
You're
good.
right.
Be good.
You're right. I wrote an article about that in the past issue of The Other Woman. And I think it was titled Pick One.
Right.
You're either going to have a lazy man, a womanizer, an alcoholic, a druggie, a couch potato, a workaholic, wandering eyes. It's going to be something. Pick one. Pick one. Because you're going to have to deal with something. Because there's no perfect man. But here's a comment. Expectations in a relationship. Huh?
Before you comment, let me tell you, because you know I'm old and I forget. But I just saw a segment on Hoarders. You seen that TV show
I
Hoarders?
can't watch that. I can't watch it. I
Okay.
watched it one time. I
But
can't.
but anyway, this lady said that just last night on the show, and I thought it was funny because she said it. She said, well, look, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't I don't whore around, I don't do any of that kind of stuff. My only thing I'm a hoarder. So how can you so
Oh, absolutely
that was up
not. You're right,
20%.
though. You're right. You're right. Well, you know what? That is even like parents and children. They say, well, they ain't never been to jail. They don't smoke and they don't drink. So I guess what it's not settling. It's being realistic about that person. But this is a comment talking about realistic.
Okay.
Expectations in the relationship is a realistic, mutually agreed upon contract. The key word is realistic. It does not mean that one party will not break those agreed upon expectations. So he mentioned realistic. So there's another article by a relationship coach. She says, be reasonable, setting realistic relationship expectations. And reasonable affection, we should expect affection. Unreasonable is perfection. Another reasonable expectation is respect. Unreasonable, your partner is your source of happiness. Amen to that. If you expect your partner to make you happy, you will be one unhappy individual. Reasonable time. Why are you laughing on that one?
Because she's so right. I mean, keep talking. I mean, whoever wrote that article, we should refer to somebody to everybody to read that because she's absolutely right. You expect to
Yeah,
be happy, but it's unreasonable to expect that person that you're with is the source of that that happiness. You know?
yes. Most people don't know that. They don't know that happiness is within. But if when I used to go to bridal showers,
Uh-huh.
I would always say, or put in my gift, or they would say, give the bride a good piece of advice. My advice has always
Run,
been,
run.
don't expect your husband to make you happy. He can add happiness to your life, but he's not your source of happiness. That's
Right.
not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And it sounds cruel, but another person,
Yeah.
another thing cannot make you happy. Material things can't make you happy. That's why so many rich folks unhappy and committing suicide. But back to the reasonable. A reasonable expectation is time. You should expect your partner to spend time with you. Expecting your partner to make time to see you, call you, and text you is completely reasonable. Unreasonable, your partner to want the same things you do. Okay.
Yeah.
She
Okay,
says
say
this
it
is
again. Oh, stop, stop. Repeat that one again. That's the same
okay.
thing we just said. Repeat it again, but do it slowly so that everybody can hear that and understand that. And we'll dissect it. What did it say again?
An unreasonable expectation is,
Unreasonable. Now, these is
yes,
listen, folks. Listen to
unreasonable.
Rick. This is an unreasonable expectation.
You are
Okay.
getting too excited about this one. Your partner, expecting your partner to want the same things you do. She
Right.
says, this is another tricky one. The point of a relationship is often to reach the same thing, to get married, have children, grow old
Right.
together, etc. And in that regard, it is reasonable to expect a partner to want the same thing you do. The overall big thing should be pretty much the same. You know, you might
Right.
have slightly different timelines or visions of exactly what it looks like, but it's the same basic idea. But it is
Right.
not reasonable to expect them to agree with every single thing ever. You may
Right.
disagree on career paths and choices, major purchases, religion, politics, and more. Disagreeing is not a sign of incompatibility unless you want it to be. If you
Right.
want your relationship to work, instead of expecting your partner to want exactly what you do, expect to find compromises on the things you don't agree on. Compromise will make for a much happier and longer lasting relationship than thinking you'll find someone who will be a clone of yourself. You know, that might be my problem.
Yeah. Yeah. That is your problem.
What do you mean that is my problem?
That is your problem. You want a clone. You want a Lavender clone. You're not going to get that.
Oh gosh. Well, I'm happy by myself. That's
No.
good
All
though.
right.
But that was a good comment. Reasonable, realistic expectations. So I think that's the basis of it all. Realistic expectations and communication.
Yeah.
Communication is so key. So key.
Yeah. And what people don't realize is that communication is probably one of the not the only one, but one of the very most important aspects of any relationship. You got to and
Yeah.
communicate. What people don't know about communication is that it just ain't just talking to a person or talking at a person. Communication is a two-way process, and people have to. If I send you a message, Lavender, you got to be able to receive that message the same way I sent it. And the problem with it, we don't always receive it the same way. Okay,
Right.
and
Right.
if you ask yourself why, it's because we all live different lives and different expectations. We have certain filters
Exactly.
in our lives.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. That's good. That's good what you just said. And another reasonable is challenges and growth. And this is what I was saying earlier about situations, experiences happen that allow us to see that person's character, how they will respond, how they react. She says it's reasonable to expect that your relationship will face challenges. And as a
mhm,
result of facing and overcoming those challenges, that both your relationship and each of you will grow. Some of those challenges would be things like dramatically different opinions or things like politics, religion, or parenting. Some of those challenges will be things like the loss of a child, infidelity, or catastrophic injury. By facing these challenges together and seeing yourselves as a team, you'll create greater intimacy and connection, deepening your love and strengthening your relationship. Over time, communication and challenges will change, and you'll find that things you once struggled with become easier. Now, see, this is what I was trying to express earlier. She just said it in a much better way. The challenges change, but challenges can change you also. You
Yeah.
know, so she said each of you will grow, but what if you don't grow together? What if you receive something from that challenge or that experience that takes you on different paths that you can just never agree on? Something major like religion or parenting, or she said catastrophic injury, but what about health changes? You know, as you get older, your body changes. So you got to have a love that we're not even aware of. That's a deep love to be able to withstand all of those challenges, all of those changes in a relationship and be okay with it. That's some growth within yourself. That's what I'm always telling my boys. Get yourself together first. Get yourself together. Get your mind right. It's okay not to be in a committed relationship, which they both are now, until you get yourself right. Because someone in their early 20s, they don't know who they are yet. They have no idea who they are. Life is going to throw some curveballs, and they are going to be different people 5 years from where they are now. We change, we evolve. So you want a partner that's going to change and evolve and grow with you. Because if you've got different standards and different expectations, and then you throw in some challenges, you throw in some all that other mess, life happens, you got to really love that person to say, you know what, through thick and thin, we're going through. That's communication, that's commitment.
True. That's true. Well said. Well said.
So what's been the secret to your, how long, 46, 48, how many years?
40. Yeah, I think it's 46. No, wait a minute. Well, yeah, it's 40. Going on. Let me put it this way. I think it's going on 46. Let me put it this way, okay? But I don't recognize the number 45 at all. When we went from 44, we went to going on 46. So,
Okay.
uh, the secret, I guess, Lavenda, I don't know, but one of the things I went into my marriage with, I did go into the expectation of being married to death do me part. I never that I always had that expectation that I only have. I never went into a marriage thinking that okay, I want to see how this is going to work out. If it don't work out, I kick it to the curb and I find somebody else. I always went into it with that expectation. Okay,
That's good.
um, acceptance. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
of who you are, and you got, but it's a two-way street. Your spouse has to accept you for who you are, and I have to accept her for who she is. And I think we did a pretty decent job at accepting one another. Respect is another thing, Lavender, that I think
Mm.
is one of the keys to our relationship is respect. Now, one of the things that anybody that knows us, and this is the truth, know that one of the things that we don't certain things we don't do, we don't fight. We never have fought in my relationship, and that's the truth
Wait a
as I sit
minute.
here. We never
In
had a
your
physical,
40,
not a physical fight. We have maybe had verbal
oh, okay.
sparring, not verbal sparring. I'm talking about physical
Okay.
fight. Never,
Thank
never
you.
had a physical fight at all. But we have disagreements. Okay, like everybody else, we have
Mm-hmm.
disagreements on certain things. Now, certain things we agree not to do. Okay. Now, one of the things is that you know me. Okay, I'm a master at profanity. Okay,
Yes, you
and
are.
you didn't have to agree so quick.
I am too, though.
But anyway, now one of the things there's a difference between cursing around you and then
And
cursing at
cussing
you.
at you.
Okay,
Right,
right.
right.
Okay. I don't curse directly at my spouse. She hear me say some things about situations around about stuff, but not to her. I never called her out of her name. Okay. She never called me out of my name. She never called me an MF. She never called me. I never called her that. I never called her the B word, anything like that. Okay, because if you start that stuff, then it can lead to other things. I had a friend of mine that had a relationship. They was like that. I said, well, no, well, I said I don't think. I think that you might think it's cute now if you call uh your wife a B word, the B word right now, but then it's gonna lead to other things. And she called you the B word, and then what's she gonna call you? She gonna call you that, and then it could escalate. And and you know how it escalate in jest and fun, but when you get mad at one another and you start using those names to each other back and forth, it could really lead to serious things. So
Mm-hmm.
now that's what I say about a little bit of respect. You don't call folks out of the name, just respect them for what they are and that kind of stuff. Okay, and but if I have to say anything, the biggest thing I believe in our relationship would be is to she let me be who I am, and I let her to be who she is. Okay, and to a degree, to a degree, she would not normally let you go out there and just do anything you want to do, but to a respect that you will. She let me lead my life, and I let her lead her life, and then we come together in the middle on certain things. So one of the biggest problems I see in the relationship that some people have their lives that they want to live, okay, and I'm talking about within bounds. I'm not talking about anything outside of the bounds. But some folks don't want them to lead their lives within bounds. You shouldn't do that. Well, if I didn't want to go to church, let's just give this for an example, okay? You were the church goer, and I'm not. But you're gonna nag me. I have to go to church and all that kind of stuff. Let me be a heathen if I want to be a heathen, okay? Now I'll let you be a Christian. Some folks don't. They're not happy with their wives going to church or their husband
Right,
going to church. They don't want to be a
right,
Christian. Let them lead their own individual lives, okay?
right, right.
And one of the things one last thing I want to say about this subject is that there's always three sides. What I'll say is three sides to a story, but there's always three situations. That you, me, and us. Okay,
Yeah,
you let me be me, I'll let you be you, and then there's a time
right.
when we have to be us.
I
Okay,
like that. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
So you saying that a lot of women expect their mate to fulfill their lives, to
right,
keep them busy, they want to do things together, they want to do everything together.
right.
Where one of the part, well, the men,
That's unrealistic, Levin. No,
it
hey,
is
I don't
very
want to cut you off.
unrealistic.
That's one of the things that people
It's
go into because that's
extremely
unrealistic.
unrealistic. But I like
Right,
what you said. You have your life, I have my life, and then we have our life together. So it's a
right,
lot. I know quite a few women who just, I don't want to say they don't have a life, but they don't do anything. They don't do
yeah,
anything. So the husband's out there being busy and doing what he's living his life, not doing anything wrong. He's got interests, he's got hobbies. It might be
right,
sports so she's sitting at home waiting for
right,
him to come home. Then she's angry because he hasn't spent any time with her. But when does he get his time to be who he is? They have time
true,
together, but she wants all the time. So it's like
all the
you
time.
got
Yeah,
to develop your own interests. You got to find some hobbies. You got to find something to occupy your time, or your whole life will be raising children, cooking meals, and then you're bitter when you get older because you didn't live a life, you didn't do what you wanted to do. You got to find something to fulfill your life. Again, your husband is not your happiness, he is not your fulfillment. Get a life. Find
yeah,
something to do. Find something to do. If raising children is what you enjoy doing, good. It's what I enjoyed doing when I first retired. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a homemaker. I
and
wanted to homeschool my children. I wanted to go all, you know what? That was my season for that. I was happy with that. As
Yeah.
I got older, I wanted something more. So you got to do what's good for you. So you only get one life. You're going to regret it if you do not live your life.
Well, let me give you a case in point. About you do what you do, and I do what I do, and then we do what we do together. And that's what you need to focus on when
Uh-huh.
you're doing it together. I noticed when I first got married, right? And there's a certain expectation that you have with your spouse, and you have with each other. And then when you with your friends, you're a certain way with your friend, right? Then she's a certain way
Yes.
with her friend, and she might see if she observe she observed that you're different with your friends than you with her, then that sometimes causes an issue. Don't let that be an issue with that because when she with her friends, that you act a certain way with your friend that you wouldn't act with your spouse. Then I act a certain way with my friend, I wouldn't act with her. Now things that we do, for an example, now I'm gonna give you a case in point. Now this is true. I used to like to hang out with the boys on Monday nights. I don't know what you know anything about the Apollo Club, and he used to have fish night over there
Yes.
every Monday night.
Yes.
But that was my night. That's my night to hang out with the boys and to be me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I flirt. I did whatever we need to do with it, but all is in fun. Okay, and she didn't like to hang out with that. So I one thing, if I had to drug her to force her to do that, she would have been unhappy. And then she had to force me to stay home, I would have been unhappy. And let me tell you a funny story about that. And then we call it fish night. So when I leave home, and every Monday night I go to fish night, right? And my wife understood that, and it wasn't an issue. And and for a long time, when my children got grown enough, I mean, they got big enough to ask, how come Dad always go fishing and he never bring no fish back? I thought it was funny. I never thought that literally thought I literally went fishing. Okay. And then, well, see, but when that got old, then it changed from Monday night to Thursday night for a different location to the post on Thursday night when they had their fish night. But anyway, my point is, if I had to stop doing that, I'd have been very unhappy. I'd have been at home mad with her. She'd have been at home unhappy or whatever. Or if she wanted to go out and hang out with the girls sometimes, okay, then I didn't want to do that. But what I'm saying that we individual, we all have our lives. You have your thing, I have my thing, and then we have our thing together. So that's what you need to
Yeah.
focus on, the thing
Yeah.
that you have together. But let other people lead their life. You laugh
Yes.
about this, Lavender. Y'all laugh about how crazy I am about this. You laugh about this today. You say you don't believe it. We've talked about even in the bedroom. Not we're talking about had two TVs. We
Not
had
the two
we had two
TV.
TVs. Had two TVs in the bedroom. Right. I had one on my side
Oh
of the bed. She
Lord.
had one on her side of the bed. I like to watch Dallas. I like to watch stuff I like to watch. And she like to watch stuff that she like to watch. But we only had one TV. That's a source of conflict. So we saw that. We just bought two TVs and instead of headphones and all for love.
I don't know why that's so funny to me. I don't know. I guess because I've never heard it before. But if it works for you,
It
it
works.
works.
It
But you
works.
know what? Now, it's the cell phones. The
Yeah.
young folks are in the bed with the cell phones. Everybody, they're doing their own thing. They got memes, Facebook memes with each other in the bed on the cell phones. But hey, if it works for you, it works for you. It's
See,
like whatever.
that would now my wife had come to me. It's very she understood all that stuff, but it drives her crazy when we have the kids or the grandkids over, right? And we go down, sit down. We sit down to eat or something like that. She don't like them to be on the cell phone. We go out to eat, and they eating and on the cell phone at the same time. That drives her
Mm-mm.
crazy, you know.
Hmm.
And then it drives them crazy because they can't be on the cell phone. So let's let it alone.
Yeah.
Just what are they hurting with the cell phone, eating and stuff like that? But those are the kinds of things that you have to really little things. And I always say another one of my philosophy of life is not the big things that matters. It's the little things. The little things that people don't think matters a lot. So you need to focus on the little things in your life, in your relationships, and work on those little things. because those little things could add up to big things. Okay. So,
That is
but
good. That's a good
yeah,
way to end it. Focus on the little things. That's a good way to end it. And cell phones. Let's talk about that next week. Are cell phones ruining your relationship? Let's talk
no,
about cell phones.
go ahead about cell phone.
No, we're going to talk about that next week. Cell phones.
Okay. Yeah.
Are
Always
cell
keep a
phones a
lot.
problem? Or social media? Social media. You know, what you say? As long as you keep it locked. Anyway.
No, you keep.
Okay, so it's 10 o'clock. We need to close. Keep it
Okay.
locked, Lord. You are
All
too
right. Well,
funny. Keep it
okay.
locked. We got
Just remind
no
folks, Lavender. Remind folks, we're back now. We come back every Wednesday night. Damn, I got to get my wine. We've been on hiatus long enough, so I forgot my wine tonight. So
You know
so I
what? I
wouldn't
thought about
wind
that,
up.
Vernon. We need to get back to our wine. Yes, get back to our
Yeah,
wine. It's
I
been
can
a
loosen
long
you.
time.
I can loosen you up, and then you can start talking crazy like you really. You know what they say that liquor and wine is the truth serum. So you tell how you really feel when you have a little bit of nip.
I think I'm pretty good at that sober, saying what I really feel. Anyway, let's close. Let's close.
But how
Okay.
mama? But we gonna tell mama and them. And I said, hey,
Okay, I will. I will. And until next week.
right? We'll see you next week. Y'all
We'll
don't
see you
forget to
guys
like
next week
like
in
us on
Jesus' name.
Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, we'll see you next week, Lavender.
Okay. All
All
righty.
right.
Bye bye.
Okay. All right, bye bye.